Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to all my friends and my lecturer. My name is Fitri Zohairi bin Ghazali and my metric number is 211090898. Today, I want to present about nuclear power generation.
My name is Muhammad Ahmad Hakim bin Abdul Zaman. My number metric is 211092018.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Nazrul Isham Chan. My number metric is 211092017.
Hi, my name is Siti Nur Akila binti Kamaluddin. My metric number is 211092064.
Assalamualaikum, nama saya Nur Fazlina binti Abdul Rahim, nombor metrik 211090971.
I want to introduce about nuclear power generation. First, what is nuclear energy? Nuclear energy, sometimes called atomic energy, is a type of energy nucleus to an atom. Okay. This energy can be related through nuclear reaction such as radioactive decay as well as nuclear fission and fusion. Okay. Furthermore, it refers to nuclear energy technology or industry that allow for the generation of secondary energy such as electricity. Okay. Second, when nuclear energy was found. Nuclear energy was first discovered by French physicist Henri Becquerel in 1896. Okay, when he discovered that photographic plate keep in the dark near uranium turn black like X-ray plate, okay, which had only been discovered in 1895. Okay. Third, what is nuclear energy process? Okay. Nuclear energy is related by atomic process like radioactive decay, which involve a proton and neutron in the radioactive nucleus decay and releasing other particle electromagnetic radiation. Okay. Radioactive decay is a reaction that occur spontaneously, randomly and naturally. Nuclear fission, which does not occur naturally, is been wide used the electricity generation since the 1950. Meanwhile, nuclear fusion can be occurred naturally in the sun or artificially. About the process has been improved to be flexible artificially. There are some problems such as control the reaction that need to be overcome before this process can be carried out on the large scale.
Nuclear energy is a type of energy that is generated from nucleus. The center of atom are made entirely of proton and neutron. This sort of energy can be harnessed by nuclear fission. Nuclear fission is a process which the nucleus of an atom break into two smaller nuclei. This process releases large amount of heat energy. As you can see here, okay, the nuclear fission takes place when a neutron strikes an atom of uranium-235. The nucleus divided into two smaller nuclei, such as barium nucleus and krypton nucleus, and two or three free neutrons. These accelerators will collide with each other nearby the uranium-235 atom, splitting and producing furthermore neutron in a multiplying effect, resulting in a chain reaction in a fraction of a second. The heat generated in the reactor core by nuclear fission is utilized to boil the water into steam. We spin the blade and the steam turbine. The rotation of the turbine drives the generator which to generate a power electric. Okay, for the large heat energy that produced by nuclear fission, how do we do to harness it? Okay, we do by using a general reactor. There are two types of general reactor. First one is pressurized water reactor, as you can see here. It works by placing the water inside the reactor on high pressure. This is because to increase the boiling point of the water. This is important for the reactor since the higher pressure point will increase the thermal efficiency and power production. The pressurizer keep the pressure constant and stabilize pressure variation by change in electrical load. The water enter the reactor at 290 degrees Celsius and leave at temperature around 325 degrees Celsius. The pressure at this temperature must be 50 megapascal or roughly about 150 times atmospheric pressure for it to continue to be a liquid. By maintaining the water in a liquid state, the control rod system is made simpler since the rods may be inserted from the top rather than the bottom, as they would be a boiling water reactor. The steam generator is a secondary loop of water that receives heat from the reactor by passing through an inverted U-tube, which serves as heat exchange. The water in the second loop will get boiled and produce steam and run to the turbine and produce and turn the generator and produce the electrical power. Okay, for the second general reactor, as you can see here, boiling water reactor BWR only have one primary loop. The water used to spin the turbine is the same water that's passed through the reactor core. For the PWR, two loops are required to pressurize the water reactor since the hot water in the core is not converted into steam. In this reactor, a BWR requires less water to run through it than the PWR does. However, there are issues since the water gets radioactive during the circulation. Therefore, the element of power plant that are not reactor require additional shielding. Instead of being put at the top like PWR, control rods are located at the bottom of reactor. This is so that control rod placement would have less impact in the steam region of the boiling water reactor than the water portion of the reactor, where there is more steam at the top. This is to reduce the impact of corrosion of the rod. Okay, that's all. Thank you for me. Okay, from the two generators, I can conclude that the PWR have two loops. One is the water, and second one is the steam that is used to spin the turbine to rotate the generator to generate a power. For the BWR, it only have one loop. The water that pass through the rod will get to be steam, convert to steam, and it will spin the turbine, that the turbine will spin the generator and it will generate the electrical power. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.
I want to present about mathematical model. Nucleons are attracted by nuclear force, and nucleon which has electrical charge are repulsed by Coulomb force. Energy which is spent for nucleon splitting is called bound energy, or we call EB. Bound energy is determined by sum of attractive and repulsive energies of nucleon. This is the maximum energy which may be picked out. Arrangement of nucleons and force between particles inside nucleus determine the dependence of specific bound energy, EB over A, on mass number A. EB over A increase for light nucleus, decrease for heavy nucleus, and has the maximum value near mass number 56 Fe. There are two kinds of exothermal nuclear reaction. Firstly, fusion. Fusion is formation of a light nucleus from lighter one. And secondly is fission. Fission is the decay of a heavy nucleus because of Coulomb barrier. Nuclear fusion reaction take place at high temperatures only. There are a source of stellar energy attempt we make to produce nuclear fusion under a condition, but only fission reaction are used now as a source of energy. For example, 0.86 megawatt nucleon is actually peak out under 235 uranium. Nuclear fusion reaction. Burning of 1 gram nuclear fuel in nuclear reactor provided 1 megawatt 24 hours of energy. Formula energy. Formula energy is E equal to mc squared. This formula is very famous formula in the world. This equation tells we about the energy and mass related to each other by constant, and the constant is big by the speed light. For example, we have 300 milliamp per second, which 1 kilo mass. Then we use the formula and then we get 9 times by 10 or of 16 joule. That means the energy is very big. And then that we can like cover the one of UK for the whole years.
How many of the population get access to the electricity produced by nuclear power? Nuclear power generation has been around since 1960s and saw massive growth from 1970s until 1980s. Following fast growth during 1970s until 1990s, global generation has slowed significantly. In fact, we see a sharp dip in nuclear output following the Fukushima tsunami in Japan in 2011, as the countries took plants offline due to safety concerns. Some countries got no energy at all from nuclear power, but some of it got their power majoritarily from nuclear power. We saw that France, USA, China, Russia, and Canada all produce relatively large amount of nuclear power. Globally, around 10% of our electricity come from nuclear power, but some countries rely on it heavily. It provides more than 70% of electricity in France and more than 40% electricity in Sweden. So next, the percentage of nuclear power generation in the energy mix. To meet its energy mix, each country uses the type of energy available to it in different proportion. This is what called energy mix. While the figures vary significantly from one country to another country, fossil fuels dominate the energy mix at the global level. Currently, it's over 80% total energy mix has come from fossil fuels. For nuclear power, in 2019, just over 4% global energy mix come from nuclear power. This This shows that it's very rare to see any country using nuclear power as their main nuclear as their main energy producer. Are there any government commitment towards promoting a sustainable and cleaner production of nuclear power generation? In Malaysia, Tiga Puspati reactor known as RTP is the only nuclear research reactor in Malaysia. The reactor started its operation in 1982 and reached its first critically on 28 June 1982. Chiga stands for training, research, isotope production and general atomic. It's compact for a low critical mass and higher neutron flux while ensuring a higher degree of safety. However, due to prior concern from the Fukushima tsunami in 2011, plans to have nuclear reactor have been postponed. Neighboring countries such as Vietnam has also made a declaration to ditch their further nuclear energy plan. Minister in the Prime Minister Depati, Nancy Shukri, stated in 2016 that Malaysia will only build their first after 2022. Although the country has met their requirement based from observation by the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, following the change of government in Malaysia administration, the new government has decided to cancel the plan for the construction of nuclear power plant to generate electricity as science itself was still unable to find proper ways to dispose nuclear waste. Next is the comparison between three main power generation in Southeast Asia. Energy demand in Southeast Asia has increased average by around 3% a year over the past 2 decades. And these trends continue to 2030 under today's policy setting in the steps. Southeast Asian countries at different stages of their development, but almost all of their economies have more than doubled in size since the year of 2000. The COVID pandemic disrupted this trend, but the economic growth is set to return. The region's economy expand in all our scenario by 5% a year on average until 2030, before slowing to an average 3% between 2030 and 2050. Between 2000 until 2018, oil power generation demand is the highest compared to the other energy in Southeast Asia. In 2000, 4% of the energy demand is from the oil power generation. In 2018, the demand increased to about 5.5% only for oil power generation. The second highest demand is from gas power generation. In 2000, 3.5% energy demand is from the gas power generation, and it increased to 4.5% in 2018. And the third one is coal power generation. In 2000, the percentage of energy demand is 1.5%, and this number increased to 3.5% to 2018. That's all for me. Thank you.
Now, I want to present about the advantage, and environment issue. First, advantage. First, overall low operating cost. When compared to other energy source, nuclear power is the one of the most cost effective and reliable. Aside from the initial contraction cost. The cost is producing electricity is the less expensive and more suitable than other form of energy such as oil, coal and gas. Number two, consistent source of energy. Nuclear energy produces consistent and predictable result. It is not affected by weather conditions unlike wind and solar power. Nuclear fission produces far more energy than fossil fuel combustion such as coal, oil, or gas. The process generates nearly 8,000 times more power than traditional fossil fuel, resulting is in less material use and less waste. Number three, generate low amount of pollution. Nuclear power has the lowest carbon footprint and the lowest carbon emission of any energy source, including fossil fuel. The majority of the carbon dioxide emission occur during the fueling process and plant construction, not during electrical generation. Number four, reliability. Unlike the other renewable energy sources as wind and solar for example, which are dependent on weather conditions, nuclear energy has no such construction and unaffected by external climatic factors, which is a great time for the off-nitrous disaster. A nuclear power plant is able to therefore create a steady and predictable energy output, and the N is considered the higher national availability. Now we talk about the advantage of the nuclear power generation. Number one, contracting costly. Nuclear power plants are inexpensive to operate but relatively expensive to build. Between year 2002 and 2008, the expected cost of nuclear plant construction increased from 4 billion to 9 billion and the cost estimates are frequently exceeded during construction. Aside from the cost building a power plant, nuclear reactors must budget for the waste, which must be stored in cooling facility which is strict security protocol. All of the costs and expenditure make nuclear power rate expensive in the beginning. Number two, radioactive waste generation. Where the nuclear energy generated produce no emission by a byproduct of radioactive waste is great. To avoid the pollution, the environment, waste must be stored in the secure facility. Radiation is not harmful in small doses, but radioactive waste from nuclear power plant is store. Storage of radioactive waste is a significant concern and the cost for the nuclear power plant. Number three, restricted fuel supply. Nuclear power plants are heavily dependent on thorium and uranium to generate electricity. Before the supply of thorium and uranium is depleted, a nuclear fusion and or breeder reactor will have to be created. Otherwise, power generation will not possible. Number four, the environmental impact. In addition to the waste that they produce, nuclear power plants create other impact to the environment. For the example, the mining and achievement of uranium are not environmentally friendly processes. Environment issue. Energy production and consumption are all closely tied to air pollution, climate change, water pollution, thermal pollution, and solid waste disposal. Burning fossil fuel is also a major source of greenhouse gas emission. Smalling saying that oil will spill on the ground or in a body water during any petroleum handling operation. Seeing the groundwater flow caused by mining activity frequently expose otherwise clean water to mineral element leach from the soil, resulting in the acid mine drainage. Lastly, nuclear energy has low environmental effect, especially when it comes to the greenhouse gas emission. Effort to reduce a greenhouse gas emission shifted to a focus on the entire energy chain emission. Various approaches have been taken to education making on environmental and energy issues.
In a nutshell, nuclear energy has their own advantage and disadvantage. Okay. The nuclear energy is also one of the nuclear energy technologies and industry that enable to generate of electricity. It is produced through a controlled nuclear reaction. Electricity is produced commercial plant that use nuclear fission reaction. Power reaction heat water to produce steam, which is then used to produce electricity. Okay, that's all for me.